Hi guys. So I am going to pass you guys out a handout talking about the components of literacy for second grade teachers. And so what I'm going to talk about is I'm going to explain how sharing resources and collaborating with other teachers when, designing instruction supports, a specific learner needs and promotes student engagement in the classroom in meaningful tasks. I'm also going to talk about a little about, activities, strategies, and how it can support student learning. So, the first page of the handout, I'm going to talk about phonemic awareness. So I think it's really important, obviously, to have phonemic awareness for reading, especially in second grade, K through second is very important because that's when they're in their beginning stage of reading. So activity one I would, recommend doing is a sound matching game. So students, will match cards with pictures of objects that start with the same sound. So for example, they would match, bat with the b sound B card. So the B card would match with bat. That's a really good activity. How this activity kind of deals with academic language, it's phoneme and initial sounds. This challenges students to find objects that are around the classroom that also start with the same sound. So if I give them a D, like they're like, duh, duh. They come over to my desk. They point to my desk, stuff like that. Another activity for phonemic awareness is you could do phonemic segmentation. So that is where students use counters, like counter sticks or counter bears, to segment words into individual sounds. So for example, they could pretend these are like counting bears. They could use 3 of these for cat. This, helps the standard about counting, pronouncing, blending, and segmenting syllables into spoken words. This also can help you, have students segment multi-syllabic words. So like I said, cat, or like even longer words. So the next component of literacy is phonics, which is really important, especially in K through second graders, even all grades, honestly, but K through second grade is, like I said, the main point of when they start to really read and understand things. So phonics. An activity you could do for phonics is called decodable text. So that's where students read passages from books that focus on specific phonics and patterns. So this kind of goes off the standard CCSS ELA literacy RF23B, which I know it's a long standard, but the standard knows spelling sound corresponders for additional common vowel teams. So what you do is you would assign your students harder decodable texts, like harder books for them to decode. Another activity is called word sorts description. So it's where you have students sort words based on common phonics patterns. So this goes off the standard where it distinguishes long and short vowels when reading regularly spelled one-syllable words. So you would assign harder decodable text for, the friends that are better with their phonics than other students. The next page is vocabulary, which is also very important in literacy. Some activity you could do to support a student's vocabulary in the classroom is called world maps. It's where students will create a visual map of their new vocabulary words that include their definitions, synonyms, and sentences using their new vocab words. So you could have students use world maps using more challenging words. And another activity for vocabulary is called vocabulary journals. So you can have your students keep journals where they have to write down their new vocabulary words, their meanings, and using them in sentences in a book. So it could be like almost like a journal. So say your spelling words are for the week, this, there, the, and they. Students will have to use a sentence using that. So a student can do, the cat was laying on the bed, then draw a picture of a cat in their journal. They could underline the spelling word that they used. That's also a really good activity for vocabulary, for literacy. The last page, so you can also do a think, pair, share, which I think are very important. in, the components of literacy in a classroom, especially for second graders. So I think pair share, it's where you could have your students think about a question, find a partner to discuss their thoughts with, and then present it in front of the class with their partner and have them kind of switch turns. These can be used in science, the subject of science, to discuss observations, or even in social studies to be able to talk about historical events. Another component of literacy you could do is called literature circles. So you can create small groups of students to read and discuss a book together. They could pick any book they want as a group, and they will read the book and discuss the book together. This can be used in also social studies to be able to explore historical fiction, or in science to read about scientific concepts, which I think is cool. Another component of literacy is extended learning to mastery. So, this is using phonemic awareness again. So you could have an activity you could do is have students create their own sound matching games that they can share and play with their classmates, during their free time, or when you're doing reading groups. They can do that in a group too, to keep them busy and occupied, but still be learning about literacy while you're reading with other students. This also helps with phonics. So using extended learning to mastery in phonics, you could introduce more complex text like books, and make sure to encourage your students to be able to identify and highlight those phonics patterns in those books that they're reading to you or with you. Another one is vocabulary for extended learning to mastery. So you could challenge your students to use the new vocabulary words that they learn in their writing assignments across different subjects. So it doesn't just have to be writing and phonics. It could be social studies, math, or even science. They could use some of their new vocab words. So our last component of literacy I'm going to talk about is called technology integration. So you could integrate technology into your classroom to help with learning the components of literacy. So for example, you could use interactive apps. So you could use apps that give the students engaging and interactive literacy activities that fit each student's individual needs. You could do digital storytelling, which is, you can encourage your students to create their own digital stories using the new vocabulary words and phonics patterns that they've learned. I also, at the bottom of this last page, I, did some references that I used to help me with this handout. If you guys want to read those, journal articles, that can also help you. So yeah, that was my presentation on the components of literacy for second graders. If you guys have any questions, please raise your hand, or, stay after this presentation and you can ask me when it's over and everyone leaves. Thank you. Bye.